Hello and welcome to today's video. So today, we have an interesting video for you guys. This is an article that came out on November 4th. So it's been a couple days, but apparently, Seoul Dynasty has a Contenders team, which I did not know about. But apparently they announced they're having a Contenders team sometime in the summer, or said in the summer Seoul Dynasty would be recruiting Overwatch players for Overwatch Contenders Korea. And they have their roster and coaching staff. So the thing that's interesting about this is Contenders. I haven't really watched Contenders. I don't necessarily have that much of interest in it, but it's important, I think, for the Overwatch League teams to have Contenders teams. It's just like other sports, baseball, basketball. You know, they got their other teams that have a lot of their other players, their younger players. So basically with the Contenders team, you can sign players that you want. Say they're even like 16 or 17. I don't know the limit on age, but I know that you can sign players that are younger than the limit to be in Overwatch League, because you have to be 18 to be in that. But I guess you can sign a player that's maybe like 17, maybe 16. I can see 16 as like the limit in that, but either way, you can sign players who are younger than the limit for Overwatch League. And the interesting thing about that is, I think it's good for a team like Seoul Dynasty to have a Contenders team, because obviously, as people know, Korea is where so many of the players in Overwatch League are from. Some of the main, like, top, even just esports in general, players are from Korea. So I think that this is pretty cool to see them having a thing like that. So what it says here, I don't know who the quote's from, but it's from somebody. Or it just says in general. Our goal is to provide the top players in Korea with training and preparations needed to go pro. For the reason, we expose them to coaching system that resemble the way OWL teams play. So many factors come into play at the next level, which is why we provide English lessons, physical and psychological well-being programs, PR marketing training, so players can be better equipped once they move up. Simply put, we're not trying to build a Contenders team for Seoul Dynasty. Gen G is looking set a goal center for how a minor league team should be run. So basically, they're trying to do more than just, these are players that we like, let's put them on our Overwatch League roster when they can. They're trying to get them ready to be players in the thing in general, and also help just be like, this is the way teams should be run in Contenders, and really set the standard for that. And I think it's cool doing a lot of the stuff that said they're going to do with their Contenders team, especially with like English lessons for the players, and also like physical, psychological programs and PR marketing training. I think all three of those things are really cool. I think the thing for the first one, start with the English lessons. I think that's interesting because it will help the players, especially when they do, like if you watch Overwatch League, a lot of the Korean players will have their translator there. A couple of them don't need translators, but most of them do. So I think it's interesting they'll have help with that, especially the way they can be in like the broadcast, and they can just talk to everybody a lot easier instead of having to go through a translator. So I think that's pretty cool. Physical and psychological well-being programs, and that's good to just, help the players not just be like play Overwatch all the time. I think it's good to have something else that they can help with that. And then PR marketing training, so that way they can be like, they're ready. And I think that's a good idea, to just help the players be ready for this stuff. Because a lot of people in Overwatch League and esports in general, I think it's more just, you're playing a video game, and all of a sudden you're like really good at it, and then you got to go play professionally and do all the stuff you're not really prepared to do. I know that if I was like really good at Overwatch and they're like, we want you on a team, I would just be like, whoa. Like, I wouldn't, you don't have that thing to know this is what you got to do at this moment. I'd just be like confused as hell. So I think it's good to help the players. And also, the thing about Contenders is helpful for a lot of the players is that, again, it helps them. If you put them in an environment that's very similar to an Overwatch League team, the transition is going to be a lot easier than if you're just like not as much of a similar situation. So I think it's pretty cool, all the stuff that they're doing there. A bunch of players, I don't know who they are. It says Anges, Stalker, Luke, Lives, Shunbi, DNCE, and assistant coaches MMA. I don't know. These are just the names that they've chosen to go by. Yeah, apparently most of these players aren't really that well known. One of them was on a team. It was like Kongdu Panthera, and the other one was on Samsung Morning Stars Blue. So those are the teams that says two of these players are from, but most of them are not really from other team. Yeah, so that's the thing. So that's cool. Also, the other thing is that obviously helps teams move players between the things. Now, I think if it had been a Contenders team for any other team, we probably wouldn't have talked about it. But yeah, so it says the only team from the original 12 teams out of Contenders team is Los Angeles Valiant. So the thing I think that's interesting about the Contenders teams is that they play in the regions where the teams are located, just like the teams are supposed to, even though they're like, I don't know, it's interesting, because I know, like, the London team, I don't know if they're Contenders teams, all Korean players, but I know the London Spitfire is, but they play in Contenders Europe. So, it's interesting. But either way, the only team from Season 1 without an Academy team is what they're called. The Academy teams are the Contenders teams for Overwatch League teams. This is Los Angeles Valiant. The other thing is that it helps them just, again, get ready for Overwatch League. But the other thing is that I talked about in a previous video, and it's something that's new for this season, is that you can have players on two-way contracts. It's very similar to basketball and the, what's it, G League now? I don't know. I think it's called G League. Yeah, the G League for basketball, you can have two-way contracts. You can have a player come and play in your NBA team and then your G League team. So I think it's a very similar concept to that. Well, it is a very similar concept to that. You can come up and you can play in Overwatch League if you're doing really well in Contenders, but your main thing's Contenders. I believe you can be up for 2 games in a stage or something. I don't know. But it's very interesting. So a lot of these players, you may not see them in Overwatch League ever. You may see them this year. You may see them next year. But it's very interesting. And it's exciting. I don't know what the team's called. The Contenders teams all have different names. Seoul Contenders. That's what I want to call. Yeah, they don't have a name for it yet. But yeah. So I don't really follow Contenders that much. Or really at all. But it's cool that Seoul Dynasty has a Contenders team. And yeah. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you guys in the next one.